Okay, so take these 3 vectors. First, you concatenate them as rows, one on top of the other. And then you concatenate them side by side, taking the transpose of each one, because I want this 1, 2, 3 now to be the first column. Actually, let me go ahead and put it, just to make sure you know how to do that. So the first one is just V1, one semicolon V2, semicolon V3. All right, so that's relatively straightforward. Taking the 3 rows, putting them one on top of the other. The other one, we want each of those rows to become a column. So we take the transpose. And then we put them side by side, separating them by spaces or commas. Whoops, forgot to take the transpose of that one. Okay, and now I get that matrix. All right, any questions about any of that? All right, so if you go to exercise 2, whoops, accidentally clicked on something there. All right, so it's 5 problems. Just practice at creating arrays for the most part. So the first one, you're going to create 2 row vectors. Which have the scores from last season's. I haven't updated it for this season yet, but the scores from last season's OSU football games. And so one row vector is the OSU scores, the other is the opponent scores. Now, yeah, be careful because the last game, unfortunately, remember the scores were reversed. So for the last game, the OSU score is the 23 and the opponent score is the 29, right? So those, a lot of people just get those reversed and then they don't understand why it's not passing the test. All right, then the second one is to do the same thing, but to make it a matrix instead of 3 separate vectors. The third one is creating a matrix, a moment of inertia matrix. It looks really complicated, but it's just a straightforward exercise in calculating. All right, so first, what I would recommend you do, define each of these, and then create the matrix by putting those variables in the matrix definition, okay? Now, where are these numbers A, B, C, and V coming from? Well, if you look at the template, A, B, and C are being generated at random, and also rho, which is just the density of the material. Okay, so you can't just stick in numbers because they're being generated randomly. So you have to use the variables A, B, C, and rho, right, when you do these calculations. And what's V? Well, it's a rectangular solid. So it's just A times B times C. All right, and then the last 2 are just practice at making arrays and appending them. All right, so go ahead and work on those and let us know if you have any questions. And these will be due a week from today since there's no class on Tuesday.